Which AI tools should your company be using in 2026? There are hundreds, if not thousands, of AI tools out there by now, but I only advise the companies I work with to use a select handful. And in this video, I'm cutting through all the hype tools that rarely give you true ROI in your business, so you only get the best. But it gets even better. Not only will I give you the must-have tools, but I also included the maybes, and I'll also highlight the tools I specifically left out. And last little mention, I'm not affiliated with any of these tools or companies, and so this should go without saying, but this is just my personal opinion. So I hope you're ready. It's gonna be a good one. Hey everyone, I'm Duncan, founder of RIV AI, and I hate wasting time, so we're getting right into it. Let's kick things off with my first must-have tool, which is called Whisper Flow. The tool is essentially an elevated AI dictation or speech-to-text tool, and I'll tell you what I mean by elevated in just a sec. In my day-to-day, I rarely type anymore. I just speak. Watch this. Okay, so now I'm just in my notes app here, but this applies to any text input area. So your email, a Google Doc, the search bar, those are all on the table for this. And what I do since I'm on Mac is I just hold down the function button and I start talking. So hello, YouTube. And that's it, easy peasy. But it gets even better. What if I were to say something along the lines of, so I'm thinking maybe we book a meeting for today. Wait, no, tomorrow. All of a sudden, you can see it completely cleaned our sentence for us. So it removed all the ums and the ahs and included only the corrected portion of my sentence. So you don't even have to go back over and revise all of those prior mistakes. And I know what you're thinking at this stage. Okay, awesome, but how does that give me a good ROI in my business? Well, you just have to contrast the speed that you can type with the speed that you can speak and think. Most sources over the internet claim that the average person types at a speed of about 40 words per minute, while speech is somewhere between 120 to the 150 range. Let's just say that speech is roughly 3 times faster than typing. Picture that immediate 3x speed increase across every person in your company who types on a computer. Imagine an admin team of 3, with each person spending just about 20 hours per week writing emails, reports, notes, and other documents. That's 60 hours of typing every week. If they could complete that work 3 times faster, they would save roughly 40 hours every single week, which is the equivalent of adding another full-time employee without actually hiring anyone. Pretty hard to argue with that. Seriously, everyone in the company with heavy computer use should have this tool. Stop wasting time typing. The second must-have tool I have for you today is Granola. Every company has way too many meetings, and the problem is not the meeting itself, it's what happens after. People forget what was said, action items get missed, important context disappears, and then someone has to manually write notes or update the CRM or summarize the call for another team. One of the companies I recently onboarded actually asked me for a tool just like this. The CEO was like, hey, is there any meeting note-taking software that will sum up all our meeting notes, which we can then query and then analyze afterwards? Well, this is exactly that. And Granola is particularly useful because it captures meeting notes without needing an annoying bot joining the call, like when you use a meeting tool like Otter. Here's how it works. So here I am wrapping up an internal meeting I had earlier with Dan. And as you can see, I had this notepad beside me. This is where I just jotted down some extremely rough notes. But watch what happens as we close the meeting and enhance the output. Now we have a detailed recap of our meeting. Okay, so now that I have these enhanced transcript notes here, I can now chat with them. And you can already see down here, we're already getting suggestions of what we might want to do for these. So we might want to write a follow-up email, list my to-dos, makes the notes a little bit longer. I might say something like, summarize this meeting under 4 headings: decisions, action items, budget, and risks. Include the owner and deadline for every action item, then draft a concise follow-up email to the team confirming what was agreed on. Do not invent any missing information. And let's go ahead and see what it does. And sure enough, here we go. So we have our decisions here, we have our action items and who should be involved, we have our budget, we have the risks, and we have a full-blown follow-up email. Although this example was really simple, I'm sure you can now see the value that this tool has the potential to bring at scale when the meetings are conducted more frequently and have more people and have much more content to go over. There's just no more rewatching meetings or digging through long transcripts anymore. So the use case here is simple. Every meeting should produce structured notes, decision action items, and follow-up context. For enterprise companies, this becomes even more valuable when you think beyond individual productivity. Meeting notes become company memory. My final must-have for today is the Claude Code or Codex desktop app. And honestly, I think the word code in these products is a little misleading because the second most service-based business owners hear code immediately think, okay, why would my plumbing franchise ever need to write code? And that's completely fair, but let me give you a different perspective because these platforms are not just about writing code. For most businesses, the bigger value is that they can work with files, processes, documents, spreadsheets, scripts, APIs, automations, and internal systems. So it allows you to do things like draft invoices, generate reports, analyze spreadsheets, and my personal favorite, vibe code automations without needing to learn how to code or even how to use a drag and drop tool like N8N or Make.com. And so here's a quick overview at what you might see. To the left, I have the Codex UI open, and to its right, I have a Claude Code. UIs are nearly identical. Very similar functionality across the board as well. I'm gonna give a quick example here just to compare the two slightly. I'm using pretty similar models on each. I'm just gonna use Opus and let's just do 5.5, both on high thinking. And let's see what it does. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say something like, hey, can you draft me an example invoice from completely sample fictional data, please? I'm gonna go ahead and run that, and then I'm gonna take this prompt and I'm going to do the same thing here. So Codex already ran, and these are my results. Pretty cool. And similarly, Claude Code's gonna generate something nearly identical. So there you go. There are your results. You're more or less getting the same thing. My point to this was just to show you how similar both of these are. Now, there is a lot of debate out there about which one is better, Claude Code or Codex. My honest opinion is that you're fine with either. I personally use both depending on the use case. From my experience, the top Claude models tend to be a little bit better at writing, designing, and thinking through the overall structure of something. And for Codex on the OpenAI side, it tends to be very strong at functional back-end code. It's less flashy on the UI side sometimes, but really, really solid when it comes to logic and scripts and APIs and making things actually work behind the scenes. So if you were asking me which one to choose, I would say this. If your team is doing a lot of writing, planning, documentation, internal tools, and design heavy work, I would lean towards Claude. If your team is doing a lot of back-end scripts, integrations, automation logic, and developer workflows, I think Codex is a very strong option for you. But seriously, I wouldn't overcomplicate it. The biggest mistake is not picking the wrong tool. Bigger mistake is not giving your team access to this category at all. Okay, those were my musts, so now we're gonna move on to the maybes. So all of these tools can provide great ROI for your business in certain situations, depending on how you operate. That's why I don't just blindly recommend that you need these without having a little bit more context about how your business operates. These tools are great, but just might not be necessary for you. The first tool leading the maybe list is N8N. N8N is basically a drag and drop automation tool that helps you connect to your different apps, third-party tools, databases, CRMs, spreadsheets, and AI models. So instead of manually moving information from one place to another, you can build workflows that do it automatically. For example, when a form gets submitted, it can create a CRM record, then send an email, then notify someone in Slack or Teams, and then update a spreadsheet and trigger another step in the process. Now, if you are already handy with Claude Code or Codex, you can technically accomplish a lot of the same things just by writing scripts or vibe coding small automations directly. And this is exactly why I don't always suggest N8N. But in a world without Claude Code or Codex, this tool would definitely be in my must-have list. And even if you do have Claude Code or Codex, having N8N alongside it isn't objectively wrong by any means. Assuming you're non-technical, sometimes you might not want everything hidden inside code. Sometimes you want to actually see the workflow. You want to see step 1, step 2, step 3, the conditions, the branches, the API calls, and where the data is moving. That's where N8N is really useful. It gives you a more visual, friendly way to build and manage automations, essentially. And another reason I like N8N is because you have a lot of flexibility in how you host it. You can go ahead and use their cloud version, but you also can host it yourself, whether that's something like hosting your own VPS or completely inside your own company's local infrastructure. And for enterprise companies, that makes a big difference. I'll give you a real quick demo here. All right, so I'm now in my N8N instance. And what you'll be able to see right off of the bat is that the UI is very different from Claude Code or Codex. This is more of a drag and drop canvas. And that's the whole point of N8N, like I was saying, just to be more visual. And so we're gonna just do a really simple automation here for sake of time. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to select a schedule trigger, and with the information we have currently, this is just gonna run once every midnight. And let's say every midnight we just want to send an email. And so we're gonna go ahead and let's pick Gmail. So as you can see, my credentials are already set, and we're going to do a send operation. We're going to make the subject hello midnight, test N8N automation at midnight. And then so here we're all set with the setup. Go ahead and execute. And we should see an email. Oh, look at that. From Duncan, hello midnight. And it's the content that we were expecting. And just to be crystal clear here, if I were to have went ahead and published this would run every single midnight. So I would be getting that exact email every single day. So in summary, Claude and Codex are great when you want to build automations through vibe coding. N8N is great when you want to connect systems together and actually see how the workflow is running. This next one is going to be a little bit of a twofer, and that's Nano Banana and VO 3.1. A lot of businesses have marketing departments. This is all about making their lives easier. Since AI has been introduced, we can now produce images and videos that are pretty close to what we envisioned in our heads. I wouldn't particularly say that every enterprise business needs these exact tools, but I do think every business should have an approved image and video generation workflow if that's a big component of your marketing. Okay, so I have two tabs open for you here. The first is for the Nano Banana 2 API. The second is for the VO 3-1 API. Of course, this one's for video editing. This one is for images. I'm just going to demonstrate the image one for today, but you can infer the exact same strategy for the video one or any models on this platform in Key AI, right? For this one, I think I'm just going to give it a simple prompt. What would be a fun image? An image of a boardroom filled with CEOs and their team. I want the teammates to only be wearing red and orange suits while the CEOs are wearing blue suits. And let's just see what that does. Okay, so our image finished generating, and there you have it right here. I mean, I guess these guys are the CEOs, and this is their team. So that's that. I'm sure you don't need too much more to understand how the platform works. And I use both of these models through a third-party platform called Key AI because they're often around 30 to 50% cheaper than accessing the same models through the provider's official APIs. Key AI essentially acts as an aggregator, which gives you a pay-as-you-go access to models from several different companies through one credit system. And they don't publicly explain every detail of their supplier agreements, of course, but platforms like this can generally negotiate or purchase usage at scale, then pass some of those savings onto the users while operating on thinner margins. So I like to kind of think of them as like the Costco for AI. This sixth tool is one of my favorite AI tools in general. It's called Clay. This one is more specific to sales, marketing, recruiting, and revenue teams. Clay is basically a platform for building lead lists and enriching company and contact data and automating parts of your outbound workflow. And whenever I bring up Clay, the obvious objection that I always hear is there's so many tools that can enrich data. What is so special about this one? And my answer is, Yes, exactly. You just said it. That's the whole point. There are so many tools that can enrich data. You have tools for finding emails, you have tools for finding phone numbers, tools for company data, tools for LinkedIn data, tools for funding, hiring, tech stack, intent, and buying signals. The problem is that no single provider is perfect. One tool might find the email, another tool might find the phone number, another tool might tell you what software a company is using, and another tool might indicate to you that they're hiring for a certain role. Clay's value is that it lets you pull from all of these different providers and organize that enrichment process all in one place. So instead of relying on one data source, you can leverage this thing called waterfall enrichment. And I'll show you briefly how it works. Okay, so last demo for today, we're inside of Clay. So I will admit, Clay comes with a bit of a learning curve. This isn't intuitive, and don't be surprised if you walk away from this and you still feel like there's a big gap in your Clay knowledge. But essentially, each of these rows are company leads. And this is an actual workflow that I ran in my business. And my goal with this was cold email campaign. And because I do AI servicing, I wanted to look into these companies and what job openings they had, so that when I emailed them, I could speak specifically to that pain point that they were hiring for. So the way I went about this, you see all of these typical data fields like you would in a regular Excel spreadsheet. But once we get to this column here, you'll realize that this is a little bit unique compared to a spreadsheet. What actually happened in this particular case, if I again click on one of them here, it actually just had it write an opener for me. And so you can see I was using my own OpenAI key here. So this was not charging me Clay credits. I referenced a couple columns. So in this case, I was actually just using the company name and the short description. And then I was telling it to generate an opener for me. And these are all of the lines that it came up with. And then the second thing I wanted to point out to you guys is this column here. And this column is what we refer to in Clay as a waterfall, because it's not actually just this column that you see in front of you. And so if we actually go in and see what's going on with this column, we see there's actually 4 data providers being used here, and they're leveraging the company domain and the LinkedIn URL. And I have some keywords as well that I'm looking for. You'll see here I have predict leads and there something and Prubrio and something native here. So there's 4 completely different providers that are all going to work together to get me the information that I need. And what's essentially happening here, as you'll see, is that I'm looking for job openings. I'm going to start by seeing if this provider has any. So for some it does, for others it doesn't. If it doesn't find jobs, it'll just push it down the line to the next provider. Now in this particular case, obviously no jobs were found across any, but in this case, right away we got matches off of the bat, and this one took the second. This one trickled all the way to the end. If you were seeing that one of these providers was doing very, very well for you consistently, what you could do is, like I did with the OpenAI key in the example before, I could plug directly my API keys for these providers so that I don't have to burn Clay credits anymore. And I know that this is kind of quick and a lot all at once. I'm probably going to do a full video specific on Clay, so don't worry about it too much. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick intro so that you see the potential power in using a tool such as this. Honestly, without enrichment, your campaign sounds generic. For me, it would be basically like, hey, I saw your company online. We help companies save time with AI. Want to chat? Nobody cares. But with proper enrichment, you can actually understand who you are reaching out to, what their company does, what tools they use, what signals they are showing, and why the timing makes sense. For example, if a company is hiring 5 new operations roles, that might be a signal that their internal processes are getting stretched. If a company just opened a new location, that means that they're likely scaling. That's why Clay is so powerful. One last thing I like about Clay is that it doesn't force you to use their built-in credits forever. Once you find a data provider or enrichment step that is working well, you can often just directly plug in your own API keys directly into Clay. Even the Clay team suggests this type of setup. Once you see the difference between basic outbound and properly enriched outbound, there's just no comparing. All right, and this brings us to the tools that I specifically left out. Again, this is just my opinion. These aren't necessarily bad tools. I previously used some of these, but in 2026, I just have a hard time finding a use case for them, which isn't already fulfilled by the tools I mentioned throughout the rest of this video. And wait for the last one, because it's my favorite tool to debate. So first one is Zapier. This tool is the OG of the automation game. It works great, and they offer the most out-of-the-box third-party setups, and the UI is probably easiest to use. My problem with it is that you can get the equivalent functionality way cheaper with any other automation tool, to an extent where the ease of use does not make up for its price tag. In 2026, when we have Claude Code, N8N, and Make.com in that order, Zapier just doesn't really have a place anymore, in my opinion. The next one is Gamma. Gamma is a really cool tool for making AI-generated presentations, documents, and visual content. And again, I really don't think it's bad. I actually really like the tool. But if we're talking about an enterprise AI stack, I don't really see Gamma as a must-have anymore. If you already have Claude Code, Claude Design, or Codex, you can already create outlines, slide copies, visuals, layouts, and presentation structures without needing a whole separate AI slide tool. And the same sort of train of thought is included in these next two ones, which are Lovable or Base 44. These are AI app builders where you can describe what you want and they generate an app or website for you. Again, not bad tools at all. I just have a hard time justifying it when you already have Claude Code or Codex. Last but definitely not least is my favorite tool, which I got over within hours of trying it, OpenClaw. Everyone jumped on this hype train. Lots of creators online say it's incredible. I couldn't disagree more. The security risks it poses in itself alone is worth never integrating it into a company. Like I said, I've tried it for myself, and please someone answer this for me. What can it do that Claude Code can't? No, seriously, I honestly can't figure it out. Claude Code can already run headlessly and execute scheduled tasks and work programmatically through the Agent SDK and run cloud routines that continue even when your laptop is closed. And that's if you even need those types of things in the first place. Do you really need OpenClaw for this? I doubt it. This one's just mostly hype. Okay, so those were my yes, no's, and maybes for AI tools in an enterprise environment. And these tools truly are a great starting point. They give your company better meetings, smarter automations, stronger outbound, and more technical leverage across the team. But the real unlock is when these tools stop living as separate apps and start working together as one system. That's where an AI operating system comes in. Instead of employees jumping between tools and manually stitching everything together, my company RIV AI can help build the centralized workflows, automations, agents, dashboards, and integrations that actually connects your business. So the tools are a great starting point, but the operating system is where the ultimate leverage comes from. So let me know what you think in the comments. What AI tools do you use? Did I miss any? Are you an OpenClaw bandwagoner who hates me for speaking about it like I did? Let me know. I do really want to hear from you. If possible, please hit the subscribe button for me. I would really appreciate it. And there's more videos on the way, guys. So thanks for tuning in. Catch you guys in the next one.